There's only a few more days to order this Crafty Crew Kit from Crafty Stamp Co. So I thought I would create a few cards today using the kit. And I've gone ahead and picked out the papers I'm going to use. I've gone ahead and stamped and colored in some of the images. And so my goal today is to create a couple of cards and then use some of the scraps to create another card, whatever's left over. So we'll see how that goes. So what I did was I went on Pinterest and found a couple of card sketches that I wanted to do. And so now I'm going to create those. So I'll try to give you the measurements. So if you want to craft along or create this card, you can. So for my 6x6 card stock, this is sheet 1. I'm going to cut 2 1/2" by 5.5" pieces off. If you notice though, before I did that, I went across the bottom and I cut off a 1/2 inch because I'm trying to save my paper so that I have some scraps to use in the end, because I'm not really sure what card I'll create in the end. So then I'm coming back to the top of my paper and I am cutting these strips off. Well, not the top. Let's take a look at this. So I am putting the top of my paper into the top of my paper trimmer so that it is run the right direction when I create this card. So I'm cutting 2 strips that measure a 1/2 inch by 5.5, and then 1 strip that measures 1 1/4 by 5.5. So then for my next card, I know the video is going really fast, but for my next card, I cut 3 strips that measured 1 inch by 4.5 inches, and all of this was out of 1 sheet of cardstock, 1 6x6 sheet. So then for my second sheet, I'm going to go ahead and cut out a piece that measures 2 3/4 by 3.5, and then I'm going to cut out another piece that measures 1.5 by 4.25. I realize now that I also want to have background paper, so I'm going to pull out another sheet, and this mint green sheet, I'm just going to cut it down to 4 by 5.25. And so now I have my paper cut. So for the first card, I'm just going to line the strips up, and you can see how I space them. There's no specific distance to space them. I'm just eyeballing kind of by the card sketch. There was no measurements on the card sketch for that. I'm just kind of eyeballing what how I want it to look. So I will tell you a little bit about this Crafty Stamp Co. Crafty Crew Kit. So well, not each month, but every other month, there is a kit that comes out, and you get a paper pack, 2 stamp sets, a stencil, and then something extra. Like last month in January, we received a little cup of sprinkles, like to make a shaker card. But now this month we received the crafty dots, which I really love. I love using dots on my paper. Now you see here I trimmed my paper down. So that one was 4.5. I decided to go with 4. I kind of changed my mind how I wanted this card to look. I'm doing it a little different than the card sketch. And so I did decide that the banging going across was just going to be 4 inches instead of 4.5. And those strips, I did cut those down as well because they measure now 5 1/4 versus 5.5. So I did change things up just a little bit. And so then I'm just adding a little sentiment strip there. So a little bit more about the kit. So the kit, you can pre-order it. It's only available for pre-order. And so this month's kit will be available through February 15th. After February 15th, you can no longer get this kit. So if you like what you see from this kit, be sure to order it before the 15th. Also, if you'd like to see an unboxing of this kit, I do have an unboxing on my channel. You can look back and see. I think my favorite part about this kit is these mice. I think they're absolutely adorable. But I also like the crafty dots, and the paper's so cute. So this month's theme for March, you'll receive yours in March. So I probably shouldn't say this month, but next month's theme is crafting, as you can tell. So for the stamp sets, you've got your crafty mice, and then the other stamp set, if you'll check out my unboxing, it's got the little crafty girl and crafty boy. And this is one of my favorite stamps from the kit as well. It's one where you can stamp the back of your card and then you just sign your name, and it says that it's handmade by you. And so I think that's really cool. So check out my unboxing to see all of the stamps, because in the unboxing I do flip through the paper, but I also stamp out all the stamps so you can get a kind of a idea of what they all look like. And I really had a lot of fun coloring in these mice stamps. I think They're tiny. I like tiny images like this that you don't take long to color in, but I just find a lot of fun. Now for the second card, I am just going to take the 3 strips that we cut, and these once again measured 1 by 4.5, and I did not change the measurement on those. I left them as is, and then I'm just putting them on the center of my card. So what you want to do is, for me, it was easier to put the left hand one on and then the right hand one, and then whatever space you have left in the middle, you kind of just even that out. And I think that makes it easy. What you want to do is, when you put the left hand one on, as you can see that I did first, then when you put the right one, you want to have the same amount of space from the edge of the card, and that way everything kind of lines up good. And then I'm just going to add the rectangle on top of that, and then another one of the cute little mice, and then I'm adding some more of the crafty dots. Now for this one, I didn't put a sentiment because sometimes I just need thank you cards handy, or cards handy that I can write a note in. So you'll see a lot of times I don't add sentiments, and later on I can add one if I want to. Now of course I'm coming back with this stamp again that says letting you know who it's handmade by, and then I'll sign all these later. So here are the scraps that I had left. Now I will say I had to turn off the camera, and I went and had lunch, and I got a little mixed up with my scraps because I did make a card using this paper the other week, but I'm pretty sure this is all of the scraps that was left from these 2 cards. So it's no extra. I may have some missing. So what I've decided to do is, I thought about it and I really couldn't decide what I want to do. So I saw a sketch for where strips are weaved on a card, and I'm not following that sketch exactly. I just got the idea and then I'm doing it on my own. So I'm just taking the scraps that are left over and cutting them into strips that measure anywhere 1/2 inch to smaller, and then I'm cutting them for the length about, some of them are 4 inches and others are 3.5 inches. And so I'm just going to lay those out on my card, and I'm going to do, I think it was 6 strips total. We'll see in the end. And then I just fussy around with them till I have them where I like them. And then I'm just gluing them down. Now I think the hardest part was gluing them down, because knowing where they're crisscrossing each other, kind of getting an idea and thinking it through of which one to glue first. So once I get them down, I do go back and just pull some of them back and glue them down. So I'm liking how they looked, but if you see this one here that I'm gluing down, I trimmed that off earlier, and I should not have. I should have left it longer. So what I'm going to do though is we can cover that mistake, no problem at all. I'm just going to put the little mouse on top of that. And so I think it looks really cute there. And then I'm going to add my You Inspire Me sentiment that came from the stamp set as well. Now this one got really wonky. My strips are not straight and everything's not perfect, but I loved how it turned out. At first I wasn't sure about it, but the more I looked at it, the more I like it. I like things to be a little wonky and a little off sometimes. I think that's the junk journaler in me. So I don't always have to have everything perfectly straight. So now I have more scraps. So I'm trying to see how many of the scraps I can use up, just challenging myself. I like to do things like that sometimes. Plus I hate to have all these little scraps left over laying around. So what I'm doing is just going through and using some of the scraps on the inside of my cards. So you can see for the one card, I made a banner. And then for this one, I'm just adding a strip on the inside there. I thought that was cute. And then I'll add a banner to the inside of this one as well. So you can see I did have a few more scraps left over. I will put that in my pouch, but at least it wasn't as many as I had. So here's the stencil that comes in March's kit. And I'm just putting a light amount of ink, pink ink on here, so that, and you can barely see on the camera. In person, you can see a little bit better. But I just wanted to make it look like those dots are in the background. If I had thought of it beforehand, it would have been best to stencil, then add my strips. But I figured it couldn't hurt just to give it a try, since this was our scrap card. And I think it really added to this card to fill in some of that white space with those dots. And it's always good to have a little dot stencil around. So there is that card completed as well. So now we'll just take a look at each one. This is the first one we created. And all of these are very simple cards, but they were a lot of fun to put together. And I hope that you have enjoyed seeing me create these. Don't forget, if you decide to order the kit, I would really love if you'd use my affiliate link. It really helps out my channel. And thank you to all of you that's been using my affiliate links. I really do appreciate it. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.